Fuck. I had the mic muted. Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel. I'm your presenter, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull. Today we're gonna play a little bit of Geoguessr as usual, and I have some very exciting reactionary crap to be roasting. So we'll have a bit of a crap roast. Hello, Adam. How are you doing? Okay, we're in Japan. Domoe. Okay. お食事. Okay. We're by a restaurant in Japan. Ukida Seikei Plastic Surgery Clinic. Okay. Osha Bunjishiki. We got... No, we haven't. Okay, this probably isn't Hokkaido. Blender. Let's see. So we'll find a route number or something that gives me a place name. Wait, the Phillies were in the World Series? And the World Series was today? Pressurized gas container facility. Wakamatsu Minami. I had something kinda cool happen amidst the kind of disastrous situation my life has been in kind of recently. I decided to stream on my language channel this afternoon. I hadn't been planning on it, but I just felt like it, so it was like, decided to do it, and I finally managed to get just over 3 average viewers, which is the last requirement I was waiting for to get affiliate. So now I can accept subs and stuff, just not on this channel. Okay, Kiharu Enelsu. Nishimura. Nishimura is one of those many Japanese names that could be a place name. It could also just be somebody's surname, and it is bloody hard. Hanazono Hiyoshi. If you don't know, 大切なのはいつまでもお役に立てること。What's important to us is being able to help you even now. 先自動車。Kubo. Hey, Haku, how you doing? Doing some Geoguessr. We're someplace in Japan. Oh yeah? What have you been having? Kotobuki Nishi. 風景になる仕事。川島建設本社。Sounds like a nice night. Go anywhere special? Yeah, I had never gotten the impression that the Phillies were any good. I thought Philadelphia's thing was mostly that they'll just fucking fight you. Toyooka. Okay, we're in Toyooka, and there's snow. I don't know where Toyooka is. It's another one of those names that probably... There's a lot of name repetition in Japan. Oh, wow. Sounds like a nice little evening. 9時プラザ。司法書士事務所。Okay, just give me the prefecture at least, please. I mean, the snow suggests that it's someplace northern, but there are certain things that tell me that this is not, in fact, Hokkaido. I mean, it's definitely not Okinawa. Yes, from your typing, I can tell it must have been a real log of fun. Ah, I see. Tuada. I'm just gonna guess it's someplace in Aomori Camp. Oh, fuck balls, not even close. Oh, no worries. No need to pay attention to it. We all understand. I'm rather excited because I finally managed to get... affiliate and I can take subs on my other channel. Okay, this is... Atención, velocidad controlada por radar. Okay, someplace Spanish speaking. Avenida Gustavo Adolfo Becker. I don't know, this feels like Spain. The signs... Urbanización Espartale, Campus Universitario. I don't know. Yeah, I'm really happy. It was like, I finished that stream today, during which you missed me speaking a lot of Finnish, which I haven't done very often. I mean, like, I almost never get a chance to actually converse in Finnish, but there was a Finnish person, who was in the chat, so we ended up talking in Finnish. And after that, I thought, I had a bunch of people come in, so maybe I finally dinged it since I was at, like, 297. Alcalá, sí, po, estamos en España, weón. Alcalá. Ahora, ¿dónde chucha queda Alcalá, weón? Oh, well. There will be other times. But if you want to chuck me a prime... Calahorra... de Henares. A2 Madrid-Zaragoza. Ok... E90... AP41... R4A5... R2 AP6... Weón, okay. But we know that whatever it is on a line that connects Zaragoza and Madrid. Thank you. You've been such a big help in that stream. Really appreciate that. Ahora, ¿dónde queda chucha Alcalá, weón? Coria... Cañaveral, Almaraz, Navalmoral, Oropesa. I like how they put Spain here. Like, and here with Pepino. It's like, what else? What is it? It's like right in the middle of Spain. What is it gonna be? Fucking Korea? I would require a more specific notation, say, if it was in fact... Alcalá de Henares, weón. Ok, aquí estamos. Lo encontramos. Pero A2. A2. Torrejón de Ardoz. Murohiko. 1.9 kilometers. And now I have to come up with emotes, apparently. So I have to, like, think of some emotes for this, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm gonna do there. I'm sure I'll... Okay, Strammühle 3110 Münsingen. Okay, a 4-digit postcode. That's either Austria or it's Switzerland. They both do that. Germany is a 5-digit postcode. 수없는 우리의 라곤. Esque? Yeah, I mean... Oh, and the Finnish guy managed to make me feel really fucking old. Is I was like... I started singing, a song from one of the few Finnish singers whose lyrics I know. And he didn't know it. And I was like, oh, it's by Yui Seleskinen. And he's like, oh, yeah, before my time. My parents probably would be into that, though. And it's like... And then it turned out he was fucking 30. Pizzeria da Toni. Fun fact, in Chile, Tony is a clown. Or a silly person. I mean, technically, Yui Leskinen is a bit before my time, too. Like, his tail end was sort of at the very beginning of mine. SVP. Oh, yuck. Okay, we are in Switzerland. And here's a list of assholes. Liste 6 SVP. Arschlöcher. Oder wie man das auch auf Schweizerdeutsch sagt. Okay. Their symbol is an anchor. That suggests to me that maybe there is a body of water nearby, that they're mostly a marine construction firm. Hang on. Konolfingen Spital. There's a sign saying Bern. And now it's gone. Oh, thank you for that. See, I'm 43. Sechs. Grindelwald. Münzingen. I think this is a remake of Die Arbeiter von Wien, this song. And where are we going? 1 kilometer off. Not bad. My parents are older than me too, really. Okay, this looks like North America. 919 area code, and it says speed limit. Okay, we're in the US. That is an immediate country identifier, because there are only 2 countries in the world that have speed limit signs that are white rectangles, and that's Canada and the US. And Canada says maximum, because they want it to be legible in French and English both. Okay, I really can't tell which of these is going to be the more main street, so fuck it, I'm going to take this one. Yes. Yeah, I mean, they're way older than me. My parents are. Okay, anyone know what a 919 area code is? Where that would be? Raleigh. Okay. 우리의 모습 일심단결은 조선의 모습. Oh, you missed a preview of a fascinating video from Has the asshole Hashole the Nazbol that we were starting to look at yesterday. I think we might continue on with it today. He goes to a fucking MAGA rally, and that title is what if a communist goes to a MAGA rally? And it's like, well, we don't find out in this video, but you do get to find out what happens if a Nazbol goes there. My mother knows some French. My father knows English and bullshit. It's church just for kids. So that's what children's church is. I wonder. Thank you for explaining that. Oaky Grove, not Oakley, Oaky. Okay, we're gonna get a state route or something to work with. Okay, they took down the fucking signs. They saw me coming, assholes. But this does look like a state route. Hey, Phoenix, how you doing? Wow, we got lots of people coming in here. It's a lively stream, and it isn't even midnight. Here in time... Things are starting to pick up in here. So... Hey, Phoenix, did you join the Discord yet? And do you want to? Let me just drop that link in here. I got too many fucking windows open, as per usual. Also, well, I can't accept subs yet on this channel. If you want to sub to Hyperpolyglotting, I just made affiliate today. Ah, bollocks, what are we... Okay. I have too many windows. And also, here's my other Twitch stream. We have a good time. It's language related to stuff, anything to do with languages and language learning and stuff. Shit. I'm lost in my own windows here. Yay! Welcome! Okay. I think I will do, thank you. US 70. And we're meant to be somewhere near Raleigh, North Carolina. High Point. My father used to go down there to sell furniture a very long time ago. Okay, US 70. Someplace around here. And where it intersects with a street called Swift Creek. That ain't it. Swift Creek, here we go. Aww. Somewhere around there. 4 kilometers. Okay, this feels Southeast Asian. I mean, it could be Brazil, it could be Colombia too. I haven't seen anything that confirms that. But usually when you get this kind of very tropical looking atmosphere, it tends to be Indonesia. Oh, the best kind of cat. All cats, to me, are the best kind of cat. I adore cats. If I ever came face to face with a leopard, I would really have trouble not, like, spooping it. 햇날리던 붉은 기포개 마치와 낮과 붓하로 새겼다. 네 운명을 간직한 깃발 의 폭풍을 예쳐왔소라. Okay, that is not Thai. That is okay. That is, I think, is like Sinhala. If you drink on an empty stomach, or you drink and you have you had like some spicy food, yeah, heartburn can happen. If you don't have antacid handy, if you dissolve baking soda in water, it will do the same thing. It tastes horrible. I mean, not horrible. It's not objectionable. It just kind of tastes like dust. It could be Tamil. It's Tamil or Sinhala. It's something Southern Indian. Could be Sri Lanka, actually. I'm gonna say it's someplace in Sri Lanka. It was someplace in Sri Lanka. But I can't read either Sri Lankan language, so... 22,256. Actually, that is not the best score I had today. Ah. I am selective about the boozing I do. Okay. And now comes the roasting part of the evening. You ever had a raspberry mimosa? By the way, I'm raising funds to basically stop the walls crashing in on me, and if I can manage to make my fundraising goal, I'll be having on Monday a special Halloween cosplay stream. So if you enjoy the stream and would like to contribute to paying for the stream, it would be very much appreciated, and have something cool going on Monday. Raspberry mimosas are actually... I'm not even really a raspberry eater. I'm not a big fan of raspberries, but my mother makes these, and they are amazing. You put, like, raspberry sorbet. You use some, like, pretty... any kind of really ordinary, sort of spritzy kind of white wine. Some... Chambeau, raspberry liqueur from France. Oh, a sexy bat. That sounds like a very cool gift. Mine's a surprise. Although people who have watched this stream for a long time might actually know it. Because I did sort of give it away a long time ago. Okay, and without further ado... See, I'm not really a rasp or blueberry person. I find them too sweet on their own. So, where is it? Okay. Well, actually, there are. I think we're gonna do continue with when a communist attends a MAGA rally. When a Nazbol loves a fascist.
We need a... So things...
Okay, let me just get the crop where I want it. The crop needs work. The crop is currently a bit crap. It's a crap crop. Strawberries I like. Strawberries I enjoy. And a strawberry daiquiri, for example. I approve of those. Okay, so here we go. He's talking to this guy. I'm going to back it up a little bit so we start here at the beginning of this. Okay, this fool's talking about campaign finance reform like it's like 2001.
Their people in. You're speaking to a man that's got Democrat boots from the 70s.
What the hell are Democrat boots? Yes, this is Haz talking to people at a MAGA rally. The idea is that supposedly by talking to them, he is showing that they are receptive to communism, except that so far he has not once used the word communist, and I would bet everything I have, which is not a lot at the moment, that he's not going to use the word communism once. But this guy's going to talk about his Democrat boots.
Drop forge.
So the
years, independent heart, when they brought in NAFTA, you talk about the working man. When they brought that in, that's when I jumped on the parole bandwagon.
So this guy has a history of supporting people who suck.
Well, now it happens to be Clinton brought NAFTA in anyway. Now it happens to be Trump is sporting the same sign in my truck, Hire American, Buy American.
Yeah, and this is the part where an actual communist, if Has were like an actual communist instead of playing one on TV, would say, hire American? That's bullshit. The workers are workers. Yeah, the years have not been kind to Woody Harrelson. Yeah, that's... Yes.
Okay, I did the same thing.
Here he is nodding along to this xenophobic bullshit.
70s, and I was a Democrat.
We need
Yeah, because the Democrats sucked in the 70s, too.
So things have flip-flopped, that's all.
The Democrats and the left have betrayed the working class.
So have the Republicans that go to the left.
Okay, and how are any of you people defining left here, okay? I have never seen Kingpin.
It's
the rhinos.
How do you look at America? Is it a two-party system, a three-party system?
Seems like a one-party system to me.
It does.
What do you...
Okay, I mean, this will be one of those rare occasions where I have to say that he's not wrong there.
You think about the need for...
Oh, now he's talking to a fucking 3%er. This is like a far-right paramilitary from apparently Michigan.
For Americans to have a government by, for, and of the working class.
Even his microphone doesn't like this bullshit.
It was our whole foundation from the beginning. That's what it was intended to be.
Well, no. You mean when there was the fucking slavery?
Don't you think our economy should serve the purpose of building instead of just profits?
Absolutely.
These
Like, he's not... I mean... Yeah, of course they are. I just think of Dana Carvey's Ross Perot. Dana Carvey did a really good Ross Perot. His George Bush Sr. was really good, too. I mean, I would love to see what happens if he actually... I mean, the whole thing... He's like, if a communist goes to a MAGA rally, and except that he's not even using the word communism. I'd like to see what happens if he actually said, hey, so, what do you think of communism? And then he said, well, what would you say to a communist if you had one in front of you? But then, I mean, I don't think his camera person would be able to keep up with him as he ran away as the entire fucking mob coalesced to beat the shit out of him. I have never heard of all that. When are we talking about? When was this?
banks have everyone. You know, we've got truckers in debt. They can't even.
All they want is a filthy rich and filthy poor.
Oh, they're...
Well, okay, this guy's jacket is giving me a headache.
They're just trying to burn the country down. You know, that's my take on it. If they can divide it and burn it down.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Now, see, when it was close up, it was just giving me a headache because it's so fucking busy. And now you pull out and, Jesus, like somebody actually... the shame, I'm not sure which is the greater shame, having actually designed it, having made it, or owning it. Oh, okay. So I was trying to think, because I'd never heard of all that, and Ross Perot there was a very short period of time when he was relevant to anything.
And then, you know, the few people that have the well-to-do ones, they'll be just fine, but it's...
You mean like the billionaire you're here supporting, whose face you've got all over your fucking jacket?
all the other little people in the world that'll lose everything.
The Democrats are always saying
This is campaign finance reform, dickhead.
that they're out here to fight against. But the Democrats are the ones who are controlled by big money and the big bankers.
Well, as opposed to what you think the Republicans aren't? Like, okay, see, there would almost be some value to what he's doing. I say almost. If he actually were to just say, yeah, the Republicans are too, and actually use the word communism. Like, when a communist attends a Trump... I mean, this whole thing is... He's just saying, like, fast talking points, and... they're agreeing with him, and somehow this is to prove that they're receptive to communism?
And why do you think that is?
Well, I think as the big bankers and the Hollywood liberal types, the perks from the Democrat Party.
Fucking rich people receive special perks from the entire political class. That's kind of how capitalism works.
Now, our gubernatorial candidate, Tudor Dixon, is being outspent almost...
What the hell kind of name is that?
10 to 1. I mean, Gretchen Whitmore's got about 15 million on the bank, and Tudor right now has got about 4 million. So, and it's about the same across the line. So we're getting a lot of outside money from big bankers and Hollywood because they are...
Yeah, Hollywood, not at all a dog issue. I don't know. I think it's actually fake vomit. I don't think this is actually a haircut. I think this is he bought fake vomit and he glued it to his head. He's trying to blend in. Just like with this horrible suit jacket here.
Are getting the perks from the far left liberal part of the party.
The far left liberal part of the Democratic Party. What you mean, the part that still thinks there should be more cops and that workers shouldn't get health care, but will at the very least say that racism is bad sometimes without meaning it? That's the far
of their party, the Democrat Party.
We need a government by, for, and of the American working class.
Why just the American working class, though? I thought you were a communist.
That promotes common prosperity, not the interests of the rentier and financial big bankers.
You're absolutely...
Yeah, what about the bosses, dude? I mean, you're gonna cosplay a communist at a fascist rally. Well, you couldn't just talk about the bosses? He's not even talking about that. Yeah. And he's not even using the word capitalists. He's not talking about capitalism at all. This is just such a fucking self-own here.
Absolutely right and everything.
And if we had here in America, if we promoted economic development at the forefront, jobs, prosperity.
Well, except what the fuck is economic development?
And wealth for Americans.
Okay, so again, this is the part where, see, if he were actually trying, I'm trying to help him out here. See, if you wanted to be a realistic communist here, what you would do is say, why just for Americans? Why not for the entire working class? Why shouldn't all workers control everything, since we make everything? And then he would get, but I mean, the reality is he would get his ass kicked. I mean, okay, he's jacked. He might be able to hold his own for about 5 minutes, but he'd have the entire fucking rally running after him.
All Americans first, and instead of just doing it for Wall Street and the bankers, and
not a dog whistle at all.
Big money. I think the working class of this country needs to take back their government. We need a government for the working class.
His microphone hates him. And why the hell is he talking? I mean, does he realize it's a Trump rally? It is for a literal billionaire who wants to run the country again.
People that we hire, that we vote into office, yes.
I think farmers are the most underrated Americans.
So basically, Bill Gates has been buying up all the farmland, and
now there is actually a little bit of truth to this. I mean, he's like the single largest owner of farmland, but the thing to know about that is that does not take much. I mean, he owns something, the last I heard it was something like over 1% of the total farmland in the US or something like that. So on the one hand, that's a lot for one person to own. And when, on the other hand, that's still, like, he isn't buying up all the farmland. The other massive capitalist assholes own much of the rest of it.
It seems like our farmland is open season for all of these, big businesses and all these billionaire globalists who earn.
Globalists, yeah, no dog whistle there. And also, again, billionaire, dude, these are people who came here to support a billionaire.
Their money by leeching off of us, not through hard work, through real industry. So what we want to do is we want
and not through real industry. Now he's just doing some outright. This is a Nazi talking point, like an OG Nazi talking point here, because they had a whole thing about. Hitler talked about schaffendes Kapital and raffendes Kapital. Schaffendes Kapital, capital that produces things, supposedly. And raffendes Kapital, capital that just sort of, grabs more money and shit. Except it's complete bullshit. Because all capital is both of those things. All capital is somehow connected to production, and all capital is all about accumulating wealth for people who contribute nothing to the process other than that they stand aside and cream off the top. I mean, this is just a literal Nazi talking point.
Government by, for, and of the American working class. What do you think?
Well, that's a definite. Right now, you've got all these what are the GMO seeds or whatever that don't raise any other seeds. So
he doesn't even know what the hell he's talking. I mean, he's not even talking about the same thing here.
now they're dictating what you can grow, how you can grow, all that stuff. That's not right.
So the big farmers, the big corporations are driving out the small farmers, basically.
Pretty much.
Well, okay, second black guy in the entire video.
And we need a government by, for,
oh god, not these fucking jackets.
Of the American working class, not the bankers and not the...
Right, there's too many...
Yeah, he keeps on bringing up the city of London. How many people in this crowd even know that the city of London refers to a separate fucking a territorial entity that also just happens to be Britain's Wall Street?
The left and the right.
Like I say, there's a few big people that got lots of money, and that's okay, but when they start trying to...
Yeah, but that's okay. So, okay, this is where, like, a communist, for example, would say, why is that okay? Why should they have all that fucking money? What did they do for it? Why shouldn't the people who, I don't know, actually made the stuff that made the money, why shouldn't they be the ones getting all that wealth? But he's not an actual communist, and he doesn't even do a good job of playing one on TV.
Burn the rest of the country down.
When they try to own the rest of us and exploit the whole country.
Right. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's literally the only way these people actually get any wealth in the first place. That's capitalism. You make a huge amount of money by exploiting people who actually do shit. And I bet these fucking jackets probably are quite expensive. I think there's a whole trend among Trump supporters to dress down, despite the fact that they are actually, on the whole, considerably richer than the rest of the population. You know, to just dress like complete prats because they think it's what working class people wear.
We need a government where common prosperity is in charge, not big money. Right.
Well, what the hell does that mean?
Right. Yep, very true.
Like anyone would say, if you go to like a literal OG Nazi rally and you say that, people will agree with you there too, because those are just completely empty slogans. That's just totally empty. Everybody wants prosperity. I mean, just like everybody wants peace, but then you ask them what the difference is, what they think that means.
Things have to change.
So I think Bill Gates is buying up American farmland, and I think the
wait, you think that? You didn't check that?
Corporations and the banker ruling class is screwing over the working class, and what we need is a government that promotes.
Wait, like, okay, we're 8 minutes in, he hasn't used the word communism once. Is he going to... Okay. Is he going to say communism in this whole thing?
It's investment in the working class, entrepreneurs, small businesses.
Okay, so again, we're the fash stuff.
Instead of the big...
We the people.
So the government should be owned by, for, and of the people, and of the American working class.
Well, except this is just such a... What that, like, that doesn't mean anything. What is... He thinks this is a flex? Also, he needs to unbutton that jacket. That jacket is not made to look good buttoned up on him. That jacket, I think, is actually a bit small on him. If he had it hanging open, it would look decent, probably.
Yes, sir.
What's amazing is that Haz is probably the best dressed person at this thing.
We need to return to our constitutional principles.
What, you mean, like, fucking slavery, colonialism, capitalism? Like, what does that have to do with, what is anything, I mean, it feels almost churlish, since it's Haz we're talking about. And we know that he is just, I mean, when he calls himself a communist, it's just a fucking piss take. Because he doesn't even know what that shit means. And he's making this for other people who don't know what that means. But, I mean, who gives a shit about our constitutional principles? Our constitutional principles suck shit. It is not a good constitution. It's totally illegitimate.
And then we also need to make sure the government focuses on doing things like...
Yeah, I should put a content warning. That is like, I mean, you could get an ocular migraine off of those fucking suits.
Infrastructure, taking back our oil, taking back our farm...
Taking back our oil, like, okay, what does that mean, though?
Taking back our energy, and taking big tech, because since big tech is...
What is this? Okay, what does he mean by any of this, though?
Private, they seem like they don't have to enforce our First Amendment.
That's true.
Okay, that is like the closest he's come to even... Okay, that is... So, that's one I haven't heard before, I have to say. Nationalize big tech in order to require them to apply due process. And the First Amendment.
America should be growing our own food. We shouldn't be paying subsidies to farmers to not grow food.
Except the reason we pay subsidies to farmers to not grow food is that we've got so much of it. If everybody who is getting those subsidies now grows whatever it is they're being paid not to grow, then it'll just be a huge amount of shit that's going to be left to rot.
And buying food from other countries and having it shipped in here. I shop at farmer's market every Saturday.
That's a good...
Well, yeah, cool. I like it. I like a farmer's market. But the thing about a farmer's market is you don't know where that stuff came from. Like, anyone can rock up to a farmer's market with shit they just bought from Whole Foods and sell it to you.
God bless, yeah. Yep. The big corporations are driving out the small farmers, basically.
Pretty much. Like, if you go down to Ohio, you can see it real good. So many farms and nothing's being grown.
The farmland should be for growing food, and
we have we have massive food overproduction. We
need to have a government that guarantees that.
Well, that's how it should be, but unfortunately, big business dictates that that's not the way they want it. They want it, not what we want, but what they want.
Small government, community ownership, and community control.
Amen. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Well, you know, I say we, as Americans, we need to take control of our oil, we need to take control of our energy, take control of big tech, so to stop their censorship.
To stop their censorship. I mean, it's interesting, because you know he's not talking about their actual censorship of queer people and leftists. It'll be their censorship of Nazis.
And that's what we got to do.
Which they don't do. They, like, very patently don't do that.
Have to make, because see, look, love or hate the Chinese or the Russians, you don't see Bill Gates going and buying their farmland.
No, why would they?
Because they own their own shit over
Exactly.
there, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, but you do see his subsidiaries forming joint ventures and exploiting underpaid Chinese workers.
You got to have a base for yourself, man, where you able to grow off of. If you always relying on somebody else to provide
Okay, what's with the focus here?
happiness and freedom for you, then you're not too free.
And what we need is land, right? That's what Americans need. If you don't got land, you don't got nothing, right?
Yeah, no shit. I mean, this is a thing. I mean, this is Caleb Muppet gets on this horse as well. He's always talking about we need to produce more food. It's like we're producing enough food to feed 3 billion people who don't even exist, and then half of that shit. So we start out with enough food that all of us could eat ridiculously large meals every day, way more than most of us could finish. If you distributed it equitably amongst the world's population or whatever. And then about half of it gets thrown out before it ever sees the retail level. So then we go from having enough for 10 billion people to having enough for 5 billion people, and 2 billion people basically have to go hungry so that the prices for food stay up. I mean, the idea that we're not producing enough food is ridiculous.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much.
And the thing about this whole, harping on about this paying people not to grow food, I mean, there's a reason we have that. The reason we have that is because in the early 20th century, this was a huge fucking problem. Because you need to have farmers, you need to have that farming infrastructure ready and there, and the soil being protected and everything like that. Not saying that's going on, but if you have a situation where you have massive price fluctuation on food, and, based on, maybe the harvest is really good in one place and it sucks in another place and everything, you have a situation, if everybody's growing, you're going to have overproduction, and you're going to have a situation where a lot of people can't sell their shit. And if they can't sell their shit, they get behind on their mortgages, or behind on, their payments for their equipment and all that shit. And then they just get foreclosed on. The whole thing, I mean, it created, there were like fucking books written about this. I mean, I seem to remember this being kind of a major feature of the Grapes of Wrath. There's a reason we pay farmers when they're not farming. It's because we want to keep, the idea is within capitalism, it is the way that you can kind of keep that capacity available for when it's needed, while maintaining some kind of fucking stability on the agricultural produce market.
I mean, where can you call home if you don't own it?
Exactly. We need to secure our oil, our energy, and our resources, because the Rockefellers, who are oil bankers, they want to get us off oil and turn to the fake renewable scam.
Oh wait, okay. So he's decided he's also pro big oil, and fucking Uncle Sam on a Segway there. Jesus Christ.
So we should take over our oil. We should take over our main industries and use them.
The flag's at half-mast because Haz is here annoying people.
To promote the little guy, instead of have the monopolies own all of this, to turn us into debt slaves.
Well, I will tell you something. My wife is from the Middle East, and in the Middle East, all the people own their natural resources.
Not exactly. I mean, that's not how that works. I mean, yes, it is nationalized, that's true. But it is in the hands of these little U.S.-installed family dictatorships. Most people don't get to see a whole lot of that money.
The big corporations have taken all of our natural resources.
Well, okay, and how do you think that works? I mean, he was talking about the fucking constitutional value. Well, one of the constitutional values is fucking private property. It is the property of large landowners, and their accumulation process is actually a constitutional value. It's right in the Constitution.
Other countries are more resourceful because they own their resources.
Wait, okay, when he talked, what did this guy say? Because he's been subtitling it all along. When the audio's cutting out, but now this guy's talking, and he's not subtitling it anymore.
In the Middle East, for example, healthcare is 100% covered by the government because of the natural resources cover all of the expenses. Here,
I think your mileage will vary there a bit.
We have insurance that's out of control. People keep coming to the system.
What the hell are you doing at a Trump rally, though? You think he's going to get the fucking insurance companies under control? Has he ever showed any interest in kicking the insurance companies out of it? Like, what? Okay.
And we're just a number.
But, I mean, though I will note, I mean, this is one of the ridiculous things about our political system. It creates a situation where people have absolutely often have no idea what politicians and parties actually stand for. They don't connect them to policies at all. In fact, the more likely you are to vote, the less likely you're able to actually successfully match parties and politicians to policies they support. And there is this whole thing where you'll have, nationalized healthcare is overwhelmingly popular, and it is also overwhelmingly popular among people who identify themselves in surveys as Republican voters. But it's still kind of jarring to see, like, okay, Has looks creepier than usual in this lighting, in this angle.
So there's a big difference. So we need to take back our resources. We need to get away from big corporations owning what really belongs to we the people.
Oh god, not the ocular migraine suit.
Here's what I want to know what you think. I think the reason they're after Russia and China is because in those countries, you can't buy up their farmland like how they do with ours.
Right.
Oh, well, yeah, that's because the farmland, Russia isn't a good example there. I mean, it's the same thing there. It is the exact same shit. You have a bunch of billionaires, and it is literally... The process of accumulation was way more haphazard and way faster. Because it was, like, neoliberal shock therapy, but it's the same shit. You think there are a whole lot of small farmers running everything in Russia?
They need to kick China off that thing out in where South Dakota or North Dakota where they bought land. They just need to say, no, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, China doesn't...
Yeah, well, okay. Whose land is it then? Ask him that.
Let that happen in their country. And you don't see Bill Gates going to China or Russia or these other countries and buying all the land he wants to starve us out.
Yeah, no, they need to just squelch that stuff.
Buying land in North Dakota?
Yeah, we need it to be controlled by America,
right?
By the American people.
Yep.
You think?
Okay, a build the wall fucking as a backdrop. God, guns, and Trump. Jesus Christ.
The globalists weren't just targeting Trump.
Yeah, no, okay. The globalists. Here we go with that shit again. I mean, so the idea here is we are now, more than halfway through this thing. He has not actually used the word communism once.
Targeting Russia. They're also targeting China, right? Why do you think the globalists are so after
here we go with the fucking globalists, and we get this guy's navel.
Russia.
Hey, his fucking fly's open, too.
Well, first of all...
God, zip that thing up.
Let me grab. You have an actor as president of a country that...
Oh, well, as opposed to a billionaire reality show star who's also kind of a fucking rapist.
Illegally left its mother country. So what would the United States do if California tried to secede from the United States? They've already tried it. What did the U.S. government do?
Wait, when did they already try it?
Clamp down on them like no tomorrow.
When did California try to secede? Is that a thing? I mean, I know there's talk of secessionism and, like, fucking Cascadia and all this nonsense now in the Northwest, but I don't remember California trying to secede from the Union.
No different than what Putin's doing over there. It's almost the same thing.
Democrats have done so many stupid things here recently. We just sent another $12 billion over to Ukraine, and here you can't take care of the people here.
Supposedly they...
Well, no, this is a bullshit talking point, and this is, you see it sometimes with Israel, too, and it just shows that people have absolutely no idea what the U.S. budget looks like, what kind of dollar amounts we're dealing in. $12 billion in terms of the U.S. budget is nothing. or the 3 billion annually that the U.S. sends to Israel, which 75% of which have to actually be spent directly, immediately into the pockets of U.S. arms companies. Okay, so the money is going right back here. But I mean, that isn't like the money that goes to military aid for U.S. client states is not the actual. You could actually still like have healthcare and maybe have a pandemic response. Maybe since we've had this pandemic a long time, I'd love to know what a response would look like here. If at the same time as spending these amounts, because those amounts are nothing. It is a ridiculous talking point. You want to talk about something that we'd have to actually start to cut into if we wanted to have any kind of decent health care or education or housing or whatever. Talk about the fucking Pentagon budget. The Pentagon budget needs to be cut anyway because they're doing bad things with it and they should have less money. Yeah, I mean, defunding the Pentagon should be as obvious a demand as defunding the police. Because the Pentagon is just the police, but for the rest of the fucking world.
They've killed 100,000 Russian troops. $13 billion for 100,000 troops.
I don't know if those figures are remotely accurate. I mean, 13 billion actually sounds low. I feel like the U.S. has sent quite a bit more, but maybe at this time it had only been 13 billion.
You think they would have been able to do more in 7 months with $13 billion? I know I could have.
Well, yeah, okay, like, give him $7 billion. Give this guy $7 billion and see how many Russians he can shoot. Like, what the hell is this?
Give me $13 billion, I guarantee I could probably take out a whole state.
A lot of people won't like to hear this, but Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it is corrupt as fuck, that's true. Russia isn't exactly winning any fucking World Cup of probity. Yeah, I mean, I would say that you could cut the Pentagon budget by about 150%, because we should actually be just taking money out of all the arms contractors to pay reparations. Yeah, I mean, there is absolutely the one useful thing that comes out of the Pentagon budget is it is actually the subsidies for high-tech industry. And there is absolutely no good reason to put that within the orbit of the Pentagon except to pretend that it's not going on. To claim that that's just defense military spending or whatever. When in fact that's where pretty much every major bit of fundamental high-tech research in the US has been funded in the past 70 odd years. I mean, and fair play, you can't have research, fundamental research is bad business. It is a shitty investment because it takes a long time, and if you want to have that, you can't just leave it up to the market or it just won't get done. But doing it in a dishonest way so that the people who benefit from those subsidies can then claim they did it on their own, I mean, that's just bullshit.
Yeah. And yet here we keep shuffling in billions of dollars and we got homeless vets on the street.
Yeah. Why not get some of that money back from Ukraine and send it to Florida right now?
The CCP, Chinese, will have to return the land that they've bought also.
Well, I'll tell you what. In China, Bill Gates can't buy up their land.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because they own it there. And if you think about it, you know George Soros.
Oh wow, we're getting in. So he's got a new dog whistle. He's used up globalists, and now he needs to let the globalists sort of recover a little bit. So now it's going to be George Soros.
They do.
So
I had a dream the other day that he passed away.
So George Soros,
lovely people.
Soros claims Xi in China is a threat in society. So that gets me thinking, Trump and Xi were such good pals.
No, they weren't. In fact, all of the pro-Trump propagandists on social media as well, you know, people like fucking Pim Tool, their big thing has been attacking China. It has been, in fact, I mean, that was one of the most horrible aspects of the presidential campaign, where Trump and Biden were competing to see who could say worse things about Chinese people.
They got along so well. I think he's fighting the deep state over there.
Oh, it could be. Absolutely. It could be.
Who's fighting the deep state over there? What, Trump is fighting the deep state in China? With the Chinese deep state? What does that even mean? And why? What does this have to do with communism? Are we going to say the word communism? We're 14:22 out of 23 minutes and 49 seconds. He hasn't said communism once.
You know, believe it or not, they say President Xi, he's fighting the deep state because George Soros named him the #1 threat to the open society.
He runs the fucking the U.S. deep state. Yeah, guess what? That's everybody who is, like... What the we've just gotten into... What is any of this?
Society.
Also, maybe he should avoid getting backlit because it makes him look like a fucking goblin.
President Xi in China. And him and Trump got along real well.
No, they didn't. What the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Like, Trump was slagging off China every chance he got.
George Soros, I don't know if you know who he is. George Soros, he's trying to bring us to China.
Okay, no. I mean, for nobody... The ruling class in the U.S. does not want war with China. Because, first of all, China is a country that could easily defend themselves. And also, they have huge investments in China. That China is the fucking... is Wall Street's low-wage manufacturing platform. They don't want a war with China. They don't want to fuck that deal up. It's why there's also never going to be any real sanctions or any kind of economic warfare against China. Because if you impose an economic blockade on China, you are basically sanctioning Wall Street. And that shit's not going to happen.
He said that President Xi is the biggest threat to the open society because President Xi is fighting the deep state over there.
What does he mean he's fighting the deep state over there? Well, yeah, of course. I mean, the U.S., any U.S. president's going to get on better with their Japanese counterpart than with whoever the head of the Chinese Communist Party is at any given time. Like, he's not fighting the deep state in China. He's in charge of the deep state in China. Like, if deep state means what it meant back when it was a term of analysis and not just some shit Nazis say, then, yeah, Xi Jinping is totally in charge of that. He is in charge of the entire unelected aspect of the state. The state security bureaucracy, all that shit. He runs that. Does he mean he's fighting, like, the U.S. CIA? Well, yeah, probably is. Like, what does this mean? That Xi Jinping is fighting the deep state? Like, this is word salad.
He's fighting the globalists, and we should take cues from him, you know, and promote a common vision of prosperity for America. None of this handout stuff, none of this welfare bullshit.
Oh, so, okay, we're screwing over the world, because... What exactly does any of this have to do with the working class?
Promote entrepreneurs, promote businesses.
Okay, so you're taking away what's left of benefits for the workers and promoting the people who exploit workers. Yeah, exactly. If the deep state is a meaningful term, then Xi is as in charge of it as Trump was at the time that he was in office. I mean, to the extent we use that term the way it was originally used by Turkish analysts, political analysts, talking about the unelected aspects of government that remain the same no matter no matter who gets elected, like the intelligence services, but the civil service in general as well. Yeah, Xi runs it. Like, he's just saying this. He's just saying these things with. And I don't know that he's even thinking about it at this point. He's just sort of vibing off his own bullshit while he goes further and further out of focus.
Promote industry, fight the Green New Deal and the Green Agenda.
What the Green New Deal? Okay, the Green New Deal is dead. It is the dead New Deal. It was dead the minute the Democrats said that Biden was going to be the guy. And it was a bullshit thing in the first place. It was, I mean, the climate goals on that were basically to just sort of blow off the IPCC and kind of hope that nothing too bad happens.
I totally agree.
Imagine what we could do with all of these other countries we're trying to go to war with if we shook hands, win-win trade deals, infrastructure.
And grow together.
Grow together, right?
That's it.
That lifts off. Putin, Trump, and Xi come together, fight the globalists, fight Soros.
Okay, so he's just said the Jews twice in the same sentence. Like, how many different people are going to represent us in this sentence?
Kick out the bankers.
Oh, okay, so that's us. That's 3 times. How many times? He's just doing all the anti-Semitism it can get in one sentence here.
Build common prosperity, promote wealth.
What the hell is common prosperity and wealth for whom?
Over poverty.
Oh, very much so.
Like anyone openly says, yes, I want to promote poverty. Badge of honor, the cops. Oh yeah, this is a guy who's totally gonna be won over to communism.
What I think is that we should return to the foundational principles of this country, which is
like slavery.
Is based on the common prosperity of the people.
No, it wasn't. In fact, the reason there is something called the contract clause in the U.S. Constitution is that, okay, the working class people, that the landlord assholes that made up the founding aristocracy of the U.S. sent off to fight the War of Independence, they were told that, you know, they would be able to come home and their land would still be there. They would have their homes. They would. You know, there wouldn't be any issue with evictions or anything like that since they couldn't pay rent while they were fighting. And so that didn't happen, and they started getting kicked out of their homes. It was one of the very first things that happened was mass evictions. Not to mention, I mean, in addition to just massive genocide and ethnic cleansing of the indigenous people, but I'm talking about the working class settlers who were the ones sent off to fight this thing. They started to actually rebel in some places and demand debt relief. And there was a lot of pressure on various states and on the federal government under the Articles of Confederation to provide some kind of debt relief. And so the Constitution made that impossible by saying that no law shall impair the obligations of contract. So you can't just and that bankruptcy will be handled at the federal level. So meaning that there was no way that you could legally get the state to just give people relief of private debts, since we were talking about private debts. I mean, this idea, what the fuck is this nonsense? I mean, has he even read A People's History of the United States?
I agree with you totally.
Social media that's trending, and it's called MAGA communism.
Okay, finally we hear what happens when you mention the word. Let's see what happens now. Is he going to keep on talking about this shit?
The basic idea is common prosperity. The government should be simplified. 1776.
Okay. He's going to talk about 1776 to...
Small government, but it's going to not allow Wall Street and Bill Gates to buy up, promote industry, and have common prosperity for the people.
What does that mean? Okay, I mean, he just keeps using that phrase. He's never once defined it.
While now using the oil, what do you think about that?
That is a great idea you got there. I totally, wholeheartedly agree with you.
Wholeheartedly.
As a community, right?
Yeah.
We're all a community, so...
Who's we? Who's your we here? I mean, you have to... Yeah, exactly. That's his big thing now. Yeah, and this is him. This is his proof of concept video. So okay, he mentioned communism once and he didn't get his ass kicked.
We can't let these big businesses take that kind of control.
And you know what you can call that? The root word is community. Instead of their socialism, their globalist corporate socialism.
Oh God, their globalist corporate socialism.
We have a working class MAGA communism.
God, like, what do these words even fucking mean at this point? What the corporate globalist socialism? That doesn't even make sense. I mean, the whole point, the only way that this makes any sense, that what he's doing here makes any sense as anything other than a fash grift, which is of course what it is, because he's a fash grifter, is if you're trying to change people's minds. And if you want to change people's minds, you got to actually challenge them with something. And giving them this idea, basically they've heard that socialism is bad, so you're going to kind of keep that socialism is bad, which is kind of weird because, like, to the extent that he claims to have any proximity to anything, he claims, he kind of occasionally flirts with Marxism-Leninism, and of course their whole thing is that their state capitalism is called socialism, and supposedly it's the way to communism. It's never made it to communism yet. Somehow the state always seems to get in the way of that, or somebody else's state gets in the way of that, but they're convinced that it is the only way to communism. Hello, Ludlow. Good to see you. We are watching, what happens when an incel who's pretending to be a communist, but he's pretending to be a secret communist, you see, goes to a Trump rally and says a bunch of fash talking points to people.
You think about it, the globalists have always been after Russia and China. They wanted to stop President Trump from making peace even with the North Koreans.
Which is bullshit. That is such bullshit. Trump was not actually, the U.S. did not get involved to make peace with the DPRK. What happened there was that North and South Korea, after years of talks being stalled by the U.S., because the U.S. would always find something that the DPRK simply could not agree to in order to torpedo talks. And so they started to have bilateral talks, and fucking official Washington freaked out. Because if the DPRK and the ROK get together and start, planning together to end the Korean War officially and recognize each other or anything that might actually end, then you end the whole pretext for the U.S. to be in Korea. It basically was going to shut the U.S. out of the whole thing, so they immediately got into it, and Trump flies out there and everything, and there's that whole summit, and of course they managed to come up with conditions that that the DPRK would absolutely have to be off their faces to even consider. Hey, Ludlow, good to see you. We're wrapping up fairly soon, but glad to see you here.
So maybe there's a thing or two we can learn. Let's promote industry. Let's promote...
What did he cut out here?
Steel manufacturing. Let's bring back hard-working American working-class jobs.
Why? Those jobs suck.
Well, ever since they started taking all those jobs out of the country, it's been bad for especially Michigan. You got Frigidaire, you've got all these big companies that were moved over to Mexico, and
yeah, and the thing is, the way you bring those jobs back within the logic of the system that these two both uphold is that you make them pay so badly that that the shipping costs actually make it more expensive to offshore the production. In fact, there are some indications, some industries are, you occasionally hear that they might be looking at bringing some jobs back, bringing some production back from China, because now you can pay workers here so little that it's potentially more expensive to have to ship it across
What
the
did it
ocean.
do? It put all us out of work.
And that's because our government's owned.
I mean, the video is relatively new, I believe. This is his proof of concept for fucking MAGA communism.
By money instead of being owned
This
by the
bullshit.
people.
I agree.
You know, China
Oh, okay, we're back out of focus.
has got its ups and downs. We all know that. But Bill Gates.
Like what, for example? Like, what would be one of the ups? What would be one of the downs? Let's, can we get some fucking specifics in
Gates
here?
can't go to China and buy up their land, right?
No, they got other fucking people who can buy their land. Who gives a shit if Bill Gates... Bill Gates is not the only capitalist.
Well, not without their permission.
Yeah, and what shouldn't we have the same thing where we basically say it's
Look, I'm a free market capitalist, you know.
Yeah, let's see your capital. You don't... Well, then again, you're at a Trump rally. You might have some.
But China's got a lot of free markets on the ground, on below. A lot of people don't know that. Taxes are lower there, if you can believe it. It just shows how big our government has gotten.
Well, yeah, I can't argue with you.
Yeah, probably because he's only heard any of this shit.
So, there's a new Twitter. It was called MAGA This false dichotomy between the left and the right.
Oh, okay. There, another fash buzzword. Anytime you hear people talking about a false dichotomy between the left and the right or anything like that, it's not about left or right, anything like that. Yeah, they're from the far right, or they are parroting talking points from the far right. Oh, let's go, Brett. They're so proud of hating Joe Biden. They're not even good at hating Joe Biden. If they knew what Joe Biden stands for, they would all love him.
We should come together and unite against the establishment.
America was founded
What establishment? Which
on
establishment?
the idea of government. I believe we should go back to small government.
Like, what does that mean? Like, which bits of government do you not want?
Yeah. And the communities
Like, this is all just slogans. They're just sloganing back and forth.
should be in the community.
The community should be in the community. I mean, that's the thing. We've got all these communities who've left the community.
All the money should stay in the community.
The big money, the big businesses, are creating a corporate socialism.
No, they're not. Like, what the hell is corporate socialism?
To make sure the little guy never gets any prosperity to challenge him.
Right.
But what do you think about this new idea with...
New idea?
A lot of, MAGA people are coming around to...
Oh, so the idea is he's going to lie to them. And see, okay, we're going to see.
Crazy, but they're calling it MAGA communism to fight the corporate socialism.
I mean, Jesus Christ. What gets me is that he is much more articulate than this on many occasions. But somehow, I think he realizes what a fucking ridiculous thing he's doing. Because it's just... Yeah, if small government means that we get rid of the state, and we have the working class, and with the working class just run everything through voluntary associations and various forms of democratic cooperation between workers in different fields and industries along the principles of to each according to their need, from each according to their ability, that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that communism is small government because you're getting rid of the government. I mean, at least to the extent that the government is a separate entity that is above society or whatever. Yeah, this is... Jesus.
Like I said, that is what the left is saying. They make it up. Everything they say most of them are lies. And
what?
But it seems like from people I talk to, it's more conservative, and it's not to have the government control everything, but it's to make sure the government steps in and tells Bill Gates, no, you can't buy our farmland. That's for farmers to grow food.
Yeah, does he realize that the reason that Bill Gates is buying farmland is that there's profit to be made by owning farmland, and the reason there's profit to be made by like owning farmland is that you have people farm on it, and then you profit from the sales of the shit. I mean, he's not buying up farmland to not farm. I mean, he's not going to do any fucking farming. He's going to lease it out, probably.
Well, Bill Gates is going to be caught for treason, and he'll have to give back our land.
Yeah.
That
Give back to whom, exactly?
will happen. And
Land should be for Americans.
Like, I mean, what kind of well, oh, jeez, it's like, there's so much brain melt going on here. Because, like, she's utterly incoherent. He makes no fucking sense. It's like the level of incoherence that's going on here. Yeah, exactly. If small, I mean, and the thing is that the people that he's talking to here, small government means anything that helps the working class, anything that helps anyone who isn't white, gets abolished. That's all it is. That's all they mean by it. It's all they've ever meant by it. I mean, and the only way to even have a meaningful conversation, I don't think a meaningful conversation can be had with people who, after 4 years of Trump, if they were better off enough that they decided they wanted another 4 years, then clearly they're not the people we need to be fucking talking to. And plus, they're a bunch of fucking white supremacists, for the most part. Or they're and when they're not, like, outright white supremacists, they're people who are very comfortable in the company of fucking white supremacist garbage fuckers. I mean, this is just two people being incoherent together.
It's not for money. Now let me ask you, what do you think to
Yeah, let's, more backlighting.
corporate socialism? We have a working class, pro-prosperity, pro-small businesses,
He got tired of subtitling himself.
farmers owning their farmland, no Bill Gates and the GMOs owning it, and the communist.
The GMOs don't own the farmland, though. They're just the companies that. The GMOs are just they're just fucking organisms.
Word, common prosperity, government for the people, not for big money.
Yeah, well, the government should be for the people. The government, our founding fathers created limited government. We were just...
Yeah, it's small enough, big enough to maintain slavery and exterminate indigenous people. Small enough not to help anyone poor. Yeah, these people don't even want small... They'd be fine with a big fiefdom. All they care about is they're fucking on top of it.
Supposed to defend and build infrastructures. That's why we have all these individual states with the 10th Amendment, states' rights. The people are the fourth branch of the government, and now the fourth branch is finally speaking up because they realize that that their current government, their current leaders have been.
He really does not look good when he is backlit. I mean, the more this happens, the more he just looks like a fucking goblin.
And stealing from them for decades. And now the roost has come home to...
the roost has come home to chicken. The roost has come home to crow.
Working man doesn't get a piece of the pie anymore. They're pushing their...
Nobody is saying corporate socialism. Nobody he's shown us has used the term corporate socialism in his entire conversation. He is introducing, this is his original bullshit that he's introducing to a bunch of people who already, you can be fairly certain, are utterly politically illiterate. Yes, this is Hashold and Hasbol.
Was a completely working class.
When they actually have. Well, I don't know exactly what that means, but I do.
Yeah, because it's a fucking nonsense word. Yeah. In fact, a lot of them don't so much forget the 14th Amendment as consider it to be illegitimate.
I believe that the corporations of America have turned left and attached party. the severe.
Which is they've attached to one part. Yes, it just happens to be there is only one, so they're of course attached to the political class as a whole because we live in fucking capitalism, and like he's not brought up capitalism at all in this. I mean, see, I'm not surprised that he hasn't brought it up because he's not a communist. He just plays one on YouTube, and he doesn't do a very good job at it, because every time he speaks extemporaneously for more than 5 minutes, some Nazi shit comes out of his mouth.
When the way I look, we're a two-party system. We're a corporate party and an independent party.
Wait, what? You don't think the Republicans are a corporate party? Really? Phoenix earlier said that Woody Harrelson has not been treated well by the years, and I can't disagree.
And the corporate party has two factions, Republican and Democrat.
Wait, okay. Okay. So who's the independent party then? Okay, I thought...
And they work together, and that's why they're happy to compromise, because together in some fashion.
You know, I'm coming from...
Okay, but what the hell is who the hell's the independent party then? Because I thought he was saying that the Republicans were the... I mean, that was ridiculous, but it seemed like it seemed par for the course for this sort of gathering. But okay, so what the hell does any of this
perspective mean? See, I call myself a communist with a capital C, but I support...
It's funny because most people, it's the little c that they insist on, and the reason they insist on the little c is because the capital C indicates affiliation with a party that may or may not actually give a shit about communism.
Poor MAGA. Crazy enough, right?
Okay.
Wait, capital C for MAGA? Is that what he just said?
Communist with a capital C, but I support MAGA.
Oh, okay, but I support... Yeah.
Crazy enough, right?
Yeah, it makes absolutely no fucking sense, although, actually, if you put a capital C on it, you don't have to stand for communism, you just have to go with the ever-wavering party line of one of many reactionary parties calling themselves communists. You can join the KKE, for example, who have said some wild shit about LGBT people. Or the Communist Party of Chile, who are sucking up to a center-right government, because that's just all they ever do since about 1990. Oh shit, this is another movie I haven't heard of, but I'm curious.
Okay.
Yeah, and, you know, people disagree with me, but it's not like...
Yeah, like communists disagree with you. Communists are the main people who disagree with you on this.
The left, where they will fight you and they'll punch you and attack you for...
Yeah, as opposed to, like, fascists who've never hurt anyone. I mean, like, nobody's ever gotten beaten up at a fucking Trump rally.
Right. They will attack you if you...
I'm sure especially MAGA people think this guy is a clown. Because, I mean, he's just walking up there, he's just, like, I mean, he's coming up with terms that don't even make sense in their vocabulary, and they are used to a fairly high standard of terms that make no sense. It's like the only things that they know.
If they don't agree with anything you say, they will attack you. They'll attack me because I wear a shirt that says, "And we know."
What the hell, and we know what? What the hell is an "and we know" shirt? Why? I mean, I've been wondering this. Does anyone know what that is? And we know. Yeah. I'm looking this up. Just, we're... Romans 8:28. Okay, this is a Bible verse. And we know that all that happens to us is working for our good if we love God and are fitting into His plans. That, okay, and who... FH. Who are these? Okay. Although they don't seem to be the ones wearing the "And We Know" shirt. I just looked up "And We Know" t-shirt because I was curious, and I don't see anything. I mean, it is Romans 8:28, and Romans 8:28 seems to be this group, Food for the Hungry, which I know nothing about. I mean, their website, they look nice enough on their website, but I mean, that doesn't mean fucking anything.
Yeah. We know the truth.
So it's corporate socialism.
Like, why would anyone? Most people would not even know what the hell that shirt means.
Where they're going to basically try to secure the monopolies of the bankers and the big businesses. And let's take over our own oil. Let's take our own energy. Let's take our own farmlands. Buy it up. What do you think?
Like, Jesus.
About that?
I think you're absolutely right about that.
So what do you think about this idea of the country, basically the working class takes back this country?
Who are the working class, though, Has? Can you define that for us? How do we know if somebody is working class?
And the government doesn't own everything. The small communities and the working people own their own shit, but the government makes sure that money's not in control, but...
What, is she just laughing because he said shit?
The people are in control.
That's the way it needs to be. Money ain't nothing.
So that's really the MAGA communism.
Your money ain't nothing, but you're here at a rally for a billionaire.
Idea. I know that it's a scary word, but it's about common prosperity instead of the socialism, AOC and Bernie.
Corporate... okay. I was wondering if he was ever going to explain what... Jesus,
Bernie are trying
people.
to put...
Right, I agree. We need to take that back.
What do you think about this idea? It sounds crazy. It's called MAGA communism. And
Yeah, it sounds like complete bullshit, actually.
Communism thing means commonwealth, common prosperity. We all come together.
Yeah, but can you be more specific, Has? Do you know any more about what communism is? Can you define it for us?
The workers striking at the railroads, the MAGA industrial working class, the small farm...
The MAGA industrial working class, my ass.
We all unite with our power. We kick out the globalists, kick out George Soros.
Okay, so Jews.
Kick out Klaus Schwab and stop that Great Reset agenda in its tracks.
Oh, okay, and more anti-Semitic shit.
Kick out Biden either.
Absolutely. Let's go, Brandon.
That's it. Let's go, Brandon.
God, they're so proud of that.
Yeah.
But definitely, we all got to come together. Don't listen to the media. The media is trying to brainwash everybody.
Yeah.
And that's all there's to it.
So much, brother. I appreciate this so much.
Okay, God. Yeah, I know. Trump was so wonderful with the fucking unions. Yeah, God, this is like... Okay, that was like... This may give me a migraine, actually. My brain cannot compute the amount of nonsense that just came out of all these fucking people's mouths.
Thank you so much, brothers. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. It's great. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, so, okay, a handful of people who he never really explained in any detail what the hell he was talking about didn't immediately, chase him away. In fact, did you notice the way he did that? Is he actually avoided ever in specifically saying that this was he never actually specifically says he's a communist, which he isn't, so fair dues. He isn't a communist. He only claims to be one in the title of the video. But even when he's introducing the term MAGA communism, he always goes, sounds crazy, so he's distancing himself from it. And I think the reason he's distancing himself from it is that he knows that the fucking people who show up at these things, if he speaks in any way favorable about communism, his bullshit version of it, without distancing himself completely from it and giving himself plausible deniability, he's liable to get the shit kicked out of himself.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. You too. Sir, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate this so much. Well, thank you so much, sir.
Oh God, not the jacket.
Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless. Thank you so much, sir. God bless.
God bless you as well.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Well, so he gets on with people at a far-right rally. I wonder, it's almost as if he's one of them.
Appreciate the interview. I'm good, thank you. Yeah. My name is Oz from the Infrared Show. It's a pleasure speaking to you, sir.
Yeah, truth is stranger than fiction, but this wasn't like, what does this have to do with that? That's actually a good quote. That is actually a good quote, though. Well-selected quote. I'll give him that. I like that quote. But, I mean, you're right. This, if as a writer of fiction on occasion, I would never be able to imagine that dialogue because there is a certain limit to the level of absurdism that I will actually consider plausible, and it's a pretty high limit, but this exceeds it. This is like fucking burning out my fucking brain. This is like the auditory version of fucking COVID brain damage. Okay, and with that, thank you to it's time to wrap up. Thank you to everyone who has joined us today, and I'll be back on Friday on this channel, and on Hyperpolyglotting I expect I'll be back on Monday, possibly late Sunday night as well. If you are interested, if you enjoy the stream, please consider helping pay for the stream. I know times are extremely hard, and they are for me as well, and so I wouldn't want anyone to feel pressured to contribute, but if you want to contribute and you feel you can, then it is very much welcomed. You can do that on my Patreon, or you can also just give me a sub or a prime on Hyperpolyglotting. Which is now has affiliate status. Wait. Damn it. Why did that not go through? There we go. And as always, I just really appreciate you all. I really enjoy having a lively chat like this. It's good to see you, Phoenix, Adam, Ludlow, Haku, everybody who's been in here, and so have a good night, and I'll see you soon.